Good evening and welcome to Money Matters. My name is Kimon Hatza and I'm a business attorney and managing partner at Millcrest Law in Radnor, Pennsylvania. Tonight we're continuing our special series on technology, life sciences, and healthcare leaders. Before we get started, I want to remind our viewers that from time to time financial issues relating to technology, life sciences, or healthcare matters or companies will be discussed on the show. These discussions are not and should not be viewed as financial advice. Moreover, since the show is pre-recorded and shown at a later time, these discussions and the information included may no longer be current. You should always check with your financial advisor before entering into any financial transaction. I'm happy to have with me as my co-host this evening Charlie Huntington. Charlie's the head of public relations for Life Sciences PA. Life Sciences PA is the voice of advancement for the life sciences in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Charlie, thanks for co-hosting.
Sure.
Well, I know that this time of year as we move into the summer, things kind of slow down a little bit at Life Sciences PA, but right around the corner is the fall symposium, and I know a lot of people are interested in that. I was wondering if you might take a minute and just tell our viewers a little bit about the upcoming symposium.
Sure. So the symposium, and I forget how many years they've done it, but it's in the teens, certainly. The symposium is always the first day geared towards academia, and the second day is always geared towards commercialization. It's happening at the Pennsylvania Convention Center, October 29th and 30th. And people come not only from all over the country, but they come from all over the world. And the fact that we are going to be hosting the Bio Convention about a year from now, that the International Bio Convention, expecting upwards of 20,000 people, that should help to make it a good draw this fall in leading up to that. The other program I thought I would highlight is on July 11th. Life Sciences PA is hosting a program at the Sheraton Valley Forge. Early in the morning, it starts at 7:30. There are going to be 3 CEOs. They all happen to be female, which I think will be unique for Life Sciences PA. And they're talking about the changing landscape of life sciences across Pennsylvania. So 7:30 to 8:15 is a networking time, and then 8:15 to 9:30 will be the program.
Wow.
So
I think that should be well received.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank
Sure.
you very much. Well, we have a terrific guest this evening, but before I introduce her and bring her out, I do want to remind our viewers, if you have a question that you would like us to answer on a future show, watch this video to learn how you can submit that question.
You can have your questions answered on Money Matters. Please go to our website, money-matterstv.com. On our homepage, click on the banner on the right that says Send Us Your Questions. While you're on our website, you can find information about our host and guests, as well as show notes and links about this show and past shows. Money Matters is also available as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can listen to Money Matters while you're on the go. That website address, again, is money, M-O-N-E-Y, -matters, M-A-T-T-E-R-S, TV.com.
It's now my great pleasure to introduce our special guest this evening, Kelly Wylam. Kelly is the Director of Innovation Partnership, or IPART, a statewide consortium that helps early-stage technology companies in Pennsylvania secure federal funding opportunities. Kelly has more than 25 years of experience with a variety of businesses and economic development programs and organizations in Pennsylvania. Prior to becoming the director of IPART, she provided a variety of services at the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Office of Technology Investment, including managing the Initiative for Nanotechnology, providing oversight for the Ben Franklin Technology Development Authority's university grant funding and Keystone Innovation Starter Kit programs, and working with technology-oriented businesses seeking funding. She has also worked at the Department of Community and Economic Development in the business financing area, managing pooled bond financings and small business lending programs. She has a BS in Public Relations and Communications from Millersville University and an MA in Government from Lehigh University. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, thanks.
What first drew you to a career in state government or related to state government with a focus on community and economic development?
Well, it's interesting. Pennsylvania had a very competitive program called the Pennsylvania Management Intern Program, and it was specifically designed for individuals who had just finished their graduate degrees in areas of business, government, economics, and the like. It was also competitive. The Pennsylvania Management Intern Program was competitive with the DC Management Intern Program, and I applied for that particular program, which gave the ability for me to rotate through 7 different state agencies in the course of a year in different offices and get exposure to different aspects of state government to figure out if I was interested in any of those. So one of the great opportunities that I had was with the, at the time it was called the Bonds Office, I think it's called the Private Capital Investment Office now at the Department of Community and Economic Development. So I had 2 rotations in that office, and really, thought that it was a very interesting space. I had known nothing or very little previously about it. And they happened to have a job opportunity available at the end of my internship. So that was my entree, so to speak, into the world of finance and pooled bond financing and loans and grants and the like. And I learned a lot about the department as a whole during that particular first year of management internship. So once I was in the department then, I gained a lot of exposure to the different investment and financing programs and assistance that the department makes available for small businesses, large businesses, minority and women-owned businesses, and their community funding now as well.
How would you say that your experience and really broad experience at the Department of Community and Economic Development helped prepare you for your role as director of IPART?
Well, I think one of the great things about the department is the ability for colleagues to interact with each other across different programs. And I think that in working I had worked briefly for the Deputy Secretary for Business Financing, and she had the oversight at the time for the loans and the grant programs in that side of the department. And that was really great exposure, and I got to learn more individually about each of the different funding programs that are made available to businesses and organizations throughout the Commonwealth. And I got a lot of exposure to my colleagues, not only in the department, but also in our our wide variety of economic development service providers throughout the state. Industrial development authorities, industrial development corporations, our tech councils, small business lending programs, and as I've noted to a number of my colleagues, there's not really a high turnover rate in our field of assistance programs, whether it's at the local level or at the state level. Many of these organizations promote people from within. So knowing people throughout the state and then building those relationships and those collegial relationships really, I think, help prime the pump for taking on this collaborative effort with the Innovation Partnership. Also then, my oversight of or management of the University Grant Funding Program in the Technology Investment Office at the Department of Community and Economic Development. I was able to build and form relationships with many of the our large research institutions throughout the state and the graduate research offices and the tech transfer folks. And that's really integral and at the heart of many of the small companies who are spinning out and transferring technologies possibly from these large research institutions that we have here in the Commonwealth, and we're very lucky to have them all. So all of those relationships and collegial working relationships really have been extremely beneficial to have folks know about the program, possibly recall my tenure in different capacities with the department, and knowing that when they associate assistance of the sort that we're going to talk about here, that they associate it with getting in touch with me. And I've been around long enough, and they have too. So,
Okay. I always like to ask our guests this question, but what aspects of your job do you find most challenging, and what aspects do you find most rewarding? And I understand that those are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
right. So, I would say I'm going to start off with a positive. So I'm going to start off with the most rewarding, and that would be working one-on-one with the clients, the small businesses, the entrepreneurs, the technological innovators who have the ideas, who are working maybe in research labs right now within the state. Just the dynamics of hearing about these new and great ideas and these technologies in specific spaces that are so disparate and all over the place. It could be something from, a new app for managing glucose levels, to a coating, a nanotech coating for a submarine, to a diagnostic tool for kidney cancer or failure or something like that. So it's really an exciting thing too. There's nothing boring about it ever. So that's really rewarding and also very, very exciting. On the sort of downside of it, I really do enjoy every single bit of what I do. So it's hard to come up with things that make it challenging. But I would say because a portion of the program, the Innovation Partnership Program, relies on its operation from federal grant funds that we've been lucky enough to receive for over 12 years. It's hard to know from one year to the next whether we will be lucky enough to be bestowed these funds again to continue the operation of the program. So budgetary constraints, and I think you could hear that be echoed with anyone in any field these days, that budgets can be a downside to doing any good work, and can also sort of put the clamps on the amount of good work you can do, the number of clients you can serve, the number of awards you can give, and those sorts of things. So if I had to say anything that was challenging, it would be those budgetary cycles and the amount of funding available to fund the program.
Just one quick thing. I know Charlie has some questions for you. Have you been the director since the inception of the program?
So not yes and no. It's kind of a yes and no. When the program was conceived and the federal grant program was first offered in 2002 to fund collaborative small business innovation research and small business technology transfer programs in the nation. This grant opportunity was offered by the Small Business Administration. So I was working at DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development, during that period of time, and it was their impetus, along with that of the Ben Franklin Technology Partner Network, the Small Business Development Centers, and the Industrial Resource Centers were the core original group. DCED said we should have a statewide initiative to try to apply for these funds at the federal level. Everybody's doing this at their own individual organizations. We should really have a more collaborative, coordinated initiative. So at that time, I was at DCED, and we organized the effort to build this collaborative. Since that time, there was another outside administrator and that organization is no longer in existence.
Got it.
And when that occurred, then it demanded that there be an outside administrator for the program, and the Ben Franklin Technology Partner Network stepped up and said, we will take on the administration of the Innovation Partnership, and with that, then I was availed of the opportunity to move over from PADCED to manage and direct and administer the Innovation Partnership instead of being the internal program manager for the initiative on behalf of the department.
So you've really been involved from the beginning.
Very
right?
much
You've been
so.
a director after that. Okay.
Very much so.
Got it. Thank you.
Kelly, can you tell us about Innovation Partnership? Elaborate a little more.
Sure. So the Innovation Partnership is as we've noted, a collaborative statewide effort to assist businesses, small technology businesses, and businesses who are innovating throughout the state, help them prepare winning proposals for the small business innovation research and small business technology transfer program at the federal level. A number of our partners, I should note who these collaborative partners are because they make our application and our proposal for these necessary grant funds to help run the program every year, and they provide letters of support as well as financial contribution and the in-kind support of my colleagues that sit at each of their organizations who work one-on-one with clients on a daily basis and avail them of the Innovation Partnerships programs and services and tell them about it, advocate for it, and put it on the radar, so to speak. So we have obviously the Ben Franklin Technology Partners Network, which is for centers throughout the Commonwealth and a statewide office in Harrisburg, the Life Sciences Greenhouse of Central PA, the Pittsburgh Life Sciences Greenhouse, the University Science Center, the Small Business Development Centers, the Industrial Resource Centers Network, and we're talking multiple offices obviously throughout the Commonwealth because obviously our dynamic is regionalized. There are a lot of different sectors and priority sectors throughout the state in different regions, and hence our different physical locations for many of these organizations. PennTap is one of our Pennsylvania Technical Assistance Program. Drexel University, Temple University, University of Pittsburgh, Penn State University, Penn State University Medical Center at Hershey, their Medical Innovation Center, Carnegie Mellon, and recently we've been happy to have with our most recent proposal that's going in, the University of Pennsylvania PCI will also be a supporting partner organization, so we're very happy to have their support too. So all of those organizations form this collaboration. And the Innovation Partnership is not a codified entity unto itself. We really wave the flag of all the organizations that can add value to helping companies at varying stages of their growth and development in their technology cycle, from cradle to reinvention, as well as provide investment opportunities if and when the company is ready for that type of thing. So all of these organizations are primed to assist in the Innovation Partnerships counseling of clients. And there may be the need, which there usually is, for young entrepreneurial technology-focused companies to have capital. And so the SBIR and STTR, again, Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Programs at the federal level, provide non-recourse funding. They're all grants for these technology-focused proposals. There are 11 different agencies. It can become very confusing. We can talk about that a little bit more. But we're here to sort of smooth the path and guide these clients through what is, at most times and at best, a rather complicated process for a business that has a lot of balls in the air when they're just starting out. And I should note too, it's not just for startup businesses. This can be for businesses who are small by the federal definition, 500 employees or less. So we think of 500 employees, we think that's a pretty large company. But innovation partnership, the reason I keep saying smaller startup is for a majority of the clients we deal with, they're 5 employees or less. They're typically 3 employees. They are more entrepreneurial or startup in their nature. If they have had multiple and previous successes with winning these grants at the federal level, our resources are pretty scarce, and so we're not directing our funding and our assistance to companies who, I would say, know the recipe for winning these awards. We're really here to help those earlier stage clients or clients that have not previously had good success winning these grants at the federal level and help them better refine their proposal submissions.
Okay. Was there a specific need that you identified that otherwise was not being served in the Commonwealth when IPART was created?
So it really wasn't necessarily an absence of a need. There was that federal opportunity that I noted that we're applying for these grants for to help run the program. The Small Business Administration created this program in 2002. It's called the Federal and State Technology Grant Program. The acronym is FAST. Everything has an acronym, of course, at the federal level. So in 2002, they offered this, but they were offering it to states to apply for that had collaborative SBIR and STTR assistance programs. So all of my colleagues and all the organizations that we named that are the supporting partner organizations of the Innovation Partnership all had staff with the skill set and the abilities and the knowledge of SBIR and STTR. What we needed to do was sort of rally around and decide to work in a more collaborative manner and put the moniker on top of the initiative as Innovation Partnership. So while these services were being provided ad hoc by all of our different organizations and by, authorities in those organizations who knew best about the programs, there wasn't an overarching guidance or collaboration. And so I think that that's what the Innovation Partnership really brought to bear, is a more organized and focused effort in providing these types of services.
And how do you get the word out to entrepreneurs? How are they made aware that these programs exist?
So what's really great is, again, back to our network of partner organizations. They all have their own outlets and their own streams to communicate to their audiences, and they're obviously very much a part of the advocacy and the promotion, and they do vetting a lot of times one-on-one with the clients. Not everybody calls me directly. Some do. Others are already working with, let's say, Ben Franklin Technology Partners Southeast, or the University City Science Center, or Temple Small Business Development Center, for instance. And the staff there know about the Innovation Partnership, and if a company or a student entrepreneurial effort or a researcher's entrepreneurial effort hits their radar, now it's been around for over 15 years. So we're hoping that there is name recognition with the Innovation Partnership, and that they say, light bulb goes off, and they're aware. I also can do trainings for groups, small and large, lunch and learn type of situations, where we just try to get the word out. What exactly the SBIR and STTR programs are, how do they work, in a very generalized manner, because once we get into the micros of the program, you'd understand very quickly why there needs to be some level of coordinated guidance in helping these folks.
Right. I've just got one follow-up question about the entrepreneurs. So will you fund a company without at least one of the people in that company being full-time? Or you must have someone full-time within when you're looking to help these companies? So
number one, it must be a company.
Okay.
It can't be
an idea.
It can't be a
Right.
research endeavor either. Okay. The actual paperwork needs to be filed. The program is for company applicants.
Okay.
So the effort must be made at that initial stage to become a company. In terms of the actual number of employees, we've seen companies that have part-time employees comprise their company.
Sure.
And as long as it abides by the rules for participating in the project for the term and execution of the federal project that's being proposed, that can work. It can work. There, again, having done this for a good amount of time, many of these issues are nuanced depending upon the agency and depending upon the circumstance and the composition of the project team for that company and what they're proposing and who's involved.
Okay.
You know, if they have a researcher that they want to be the PI, there's the SBIR and there's STTR. STTR has a mandated portion of the work that must be done by a research institution for ease of discussion here. But the SBIR program, while a research institution can be involved, it's not mandated that they do a portion of the work. So hence the two separate programs. One's a little bit different in that it must involve a research institution.
We're getting really close to the end. We're actually within a couple minutes. So
okay.
If I could just interrupt there, and I'm going to ask you one last question, 30 seconds or less. What aspects of the program are you most proud of?
I would say the number of clients that we work with who have received awards. Our win rate is 21%, and across all the agencies, it's a 14 to 17% win rate. And so that's pretty.
Great.
I think that's
impressive.
pretty good.
It's very good. Well, listen, I could probably go for another half hour of questions for you, but that's all the time we have this evening. My thanks to our special guest, Kelly Wylam. Kelly, thank you so much. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Charlie, thanks for co-hosting.
Pleasure.
The next guest on Money Matters will be Nick Aracco Jr., who's the CEO of Achieve Next and the CFO Alliance. Money Matters is now available as an Audible podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, listed as Money Matters, the podcast for mobile devices. The video is available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website. Thank you for watching this evening, and we'll see you again next time.